I think we can kind of just transition naturally to the Spider-Verse corner of this checkup. And we kind of separated because we have a lot of blockbuster fare for this checkup. We're going to talk about the Fast and Furious franchise. Obviously, from the intro, we're going to do a little DC. Then we got a little miscellaneous. But we need to talk about some big news leading into the premiere of Across the Spider-Verse. First off, we're getting a live-action Miles Morales movie, according to Amy Pascal from Sony. And Ricky Flex, we got a lot to talk about here, a lot to break down, because I find the announcement of a live action Miles Morales movie very, very interesting. And I'm not sure it was the right moment to announce that there's going to be a live action Miles Morales movie. We still have Beyond the Spider-Verse, the third entry in this animated Miles Morales trilogy to happen. We're just starting and just premiering Across the Spider-Verse. I just feel like you got to let this trilogy do its thing before you put the expectations and the thoughts in audiences' minds that we're getting live action style Miles Morales. What do you think about the timing of this announcement, or at least this commentary from Amy Pascal?
Yeah, I didn't love the announcement. Backtrack for a second. I love how we're getting this project. Love the announcement. The timing's just so off, like you said.
Weird.
It's just, why do it now? Like, you're already getting the reviews. Our bold predictions of the box office already outdated. Now it's no longer bold. Now it's projecting to go 150 million instead of 85, just 2 days after our predictions pod. So you're gonna get people to the theaters. You don't need to announce this right now. You really don't. That just puts added pressure to you, to Sony. I think, yes, I want to see it. I'm really interested to see if they decide to go with Shamik Moore, the person who actually voices Miles Morales in the animated movies here. Be interesting to see if they actually go that route. I think that's interesting now. But I think going forward, it's just, again, when you have another movie after this, it just seems kind of odd that you would be, especially also during a writer's strike. When will this happen? I don't know. We already see other projects getting delayed. This might not be till like 2028, 29, especially because after you have another animated movie coming out that you still have to do. I just think it's very odd to announce right now. It puts a lot of pressure on yourselves, and from the fans, especially as time goes on, it just keeps adding.
I feel like they should have announced this, or at least made commentary on it after Beyond the Spider-Verse. Let the trilogy do its thing, because you can't make a live action Miles Morales that does not connect to what you've done with the animated Spider-Verse. You can't, because we know just from the trailers we're going to have the animated Spider-Verse with Miles Morales connect to the MCU just by like Spider-Man 2099's comments about like the kid from Earth 19999, right, with Doctor Strange. Just because of that, there is some connectivity. And now it just tells me there's even more riding on this trilogy of movies. And we talked about just a second ago, like what we like about Spider-Man is that like it feels like it's doing its own thing, right? It has its own tone. Despite the fact that like the Spider-Verse, like you're collecting different Spider-Men from different worlds, it's still tonally, it's very much own thing. And now we're going to be thinking about in the third movie, how is this going to translate and go from this story to live action, and we haven't even gotten the second movie yet. To me, the timing makes no sense. And it's very much Sony-esque to kind of like mess up what a good thing that they have going. You know what I mean?
Definitely rushed for sure. Definitely too excited. And you're right. Like, to announce this before the third one, like, yes, the second one is already certified fresh at 95%. We could we could actually say it's good. Do we like it? We don't know yet. We haven't seen it. But critically successful. But we don't know the third one. The track record says it's going to be good. So anticipation levels are high.
Spider-Man 3 would differ.
Spider-Man 3, though, exactly. You never know. That's my point. You never know. And what if the third one just is like a Spider-Man 3, and then that even adds more pressure to this? I just think it's a little too big for your bridges right now. Know who you are, right? I just don't think they know who they are. This is their prized possession. They just put a little risk on it. Hey, I think it'll be fine. I'm just saying I would not have done this. Very bold and way too risky.
And Ricky, I have other questions because of this announcement. And it's going to be like, how do you incorporate a live action Miles Morales? Like, you have to continue the animated story, right? That's the point of having Into the Spider Verse, to show like you can go in and out. Like, we made predictions that we're going to have like Tom Holland appear in animated form in the Spider Verse. So it has to be that same story continued. It would feel weird if you made another origin story of Miles Morales in live action form when we know the Spider-Verse exists. So what I was curious about is, where do you put Miles Morales? Do you put him in the MCU and you charge Kevin Feige his left and right leg to put him in that universe, and potentially in Spider-Man 4, which is going through a writer's strike right now? Like, it's being delayed, like it's pre-production due to the writer's strike. Or do you have Miles Morales as the Spider-Man in the Sony universe, live action?
Personally, what makes this Miles Morales so good is because it's separate. It has what we were just talking about with Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire. I think you have that here, especially with the animation style, right? The storytelling, its own type of multiverse, the different dimensions. I think that's what makes it so good. It's so separate from the MCU, yet still comic book vibes are more than there, more than any other comic book project that we've ever had, probably because of that animation style. So I just think that's better on its own. But is it going to actually do that? I don't think so. I think Kevin Feige is going to somehow get this onto his hands. I think the real question is, does he replace Tom Holland in the future?
Ricky.
I think that's the real question.
Yep.
And
sorry, go ahead.
no, and I think it's going to be a yes, because I think Tom Holland returns in Spider-Man 4, gets his life back in order, and maybe after that he's done. He has hinted at it. He said, "Oh, I'll play Spider-Man until I die," and he's also said, "I kind of want to do other stuff." You know what? You can't be wishy-washy. Snip, snap, snip, snap. No, Miles Morales, he's going to be the hot ticket. He's the hot ticket right now, not Tom Holland. Yeah, I said it. And I think right when he goes to live action, that's a great opportunity to change directions here. Now, what were you going to say?
I was thinking, if like he's introduced in the same universe as Tom Holland, it's going to rip a lot of fandom apart. It's going to be very divisive. Like, which side are you going to take? I don't think it's going to be like, yeah, we root for all Spider-Men. Like, people always have a favorite, right? And what it reminds me of, Tom Holland's made, like, going on, he's had 3 movies solo in live action form, and then all the Avenger movies. If you incorporate Miles Morales into that same universe, fans are going to be like, oh, this is fresh blood. And this is like coming off into the Spider-Verse. Oh, it's continuing the same story. Are you kidding me? And then it kind of reminds me, we're Steelers fans, Ricky Flicks. I'm going to go Colin Coward here a little bit. Antonio Brown was absolutely went on one of the greatest stretches in the history of a wide receiver in the mid 2010s. All right. And we embraced him. We loved him. But eventually we knew we needed another like downfield threat. And then we had Martavis Bryant for a little bit. But then here comes this rookie from USC, Juju Smith-Schuster. And he has an electric rookie year. He catches for like 1,200 yards. And Big Ben seems like he's looking for him on like first and second down rather than AB. And AB's getting double teamed. He's taking a lot of that pressure. But who's coming off and kind of like, oh, he has around 100 receptions as a rookie. He has about 1,200 yards. It's the newcomer, Juju Smith. It's the hot shot rookie. I feel like there's going to be a leniency towards Miles Morales because of the recent popularity, and Tom Holland, it's going to be an opportunity for him to leave. But I think we're like, that's where it's like kind of weird, where it's like, hey, I want to see both. And I think there's really an opportunity that Miles Morales is in that 4th movie. Do you think that's a possibility, that we get Miles Morales intro into, it could be after Across the Spider-Verse, into Spider-Man 4 with a grounded Peter Parker, Tom Holland story? Is that possible?
I think he takes over for Tom Holland, new kid on the block, the new quarterback or the wide receiver in your analogy, hot ticket, and maybe we get rid of our formerly hot ticket, our main prize possession, our franchise player, maybe a couple years too soon rather than keeping him a couple years too late. Similar to your analogy, you're just keeping it on going here.
He gets shipped off to Oakland and to the Spider-Man universe, and so
yeah, like you have the opportunity to draft a generational talent, and Miles Morales is that here. Or like I don't know. You could use whatever analogy you want. I think they'll respect Tom
I thought it
Holland's
was good.
Spider-Man. They'll respect it, right? They'll wrap it up, but they know they need Miles Morales. They need it. MCU, I'm talking about. Sony, obvious. Like they already said that's going to happen. But I think the MCU is going to look at it and be like, damn, good. That's something that's hot on the streets, something different. We need to be different because that's a problem. We're too formulaic right now. I think they're going to jump at this opportunity. It just depends on when it is and honestly where. You can say dimensions. You can get crazy with it. So I'm interested, obviously, but like I think I'm really interested in the business side, logistics of it.
I feel like Sony should make a movie in his own universe, live action form, and then incorporate into the MCU. So he is shifting from universe to universe like the character was meant to, and you could still have Phil Lord and Chris Miller with a heavy hand in that live action movie. And then when you have to pass it on to Kevin Feige, at least we got to have that with Phil Lord and Chris Miller with a heavy, like with the most say in live action form. I think that's doable. But I also was thinking you could do a really cool story. I think this is kind of being teased in the second Spider-Man video game. Like we had the post-credit scene of Spider-Man No Way Home with the symbiote, which is left over from Eddie Brock, and Tom Holland gets taken over by the symbiote, and you need to be calmed down by a Miles Morales, who shows up in this universe, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think you could do a really interesting story, and I'd rather have like Miles Morales a part of that movie than Zendaya, which redoes all the drama and all of like the emotional stakes from the last movie. I'd rather see Miles Morales there than Zendaya.
I'll say this, what I prefer. All right. If no money involved, this is like, hey, you make your perfect Miles Morales live action here. What I would do, you just start. You start from scratch completely.
Whoa.
So you use Miles Morales. You don't incorporate the other MC. You don't incorporate the MCU. You don't incorporate the current Sony universe going here. All new. This is a great spot to restart for Sony.
When you say restart, are you saying restart the Miles Morales character and
No,
or continue the animated universe?
Continue that universe
And just cancel every other Sony project.
Don't acknowledge everything else. I think it's perfect because you get Venom 3 that's going to come out or whatever. That's going to wrap things up. Madam Web, that's a spinoff, whatever. Craven. All these like villain. Bad Bunny has a wrestling thing going on here. Villain.
El Muerto.
El Muerto, thank you. You do all those. All right, great. You make probably in total $500 million domestically. Not great, but whatever. Then you go, okay, let's finish Beyond the Spider-Verse, and then let's continue the story. And then, hey, Miles Morales live action, you're it. And they focus all on that, and they just have a Sony-verse with Miles Morales. Like, just separate, like, not even a Sony-verse, like, just like Spider-Man.
A universe within the universe, or universe parallel to their universe.
Different. Like all these side projects, what I'm saying. They're nothing.
Ricky, that's what I'm about. What's the Spider-Verse? Everything matters. So I'm just saying like this is a world that they built for Miles Morales, but a world next to it is everything that's happened with Venom and all those other movies.
Yeah, right. But like that world dies. That universe dies once live action Miles Morales comes in. So we just focus on a trilogy live action. It's like we were just talking about with Spider-Man. Just have no universe behind it. Just accept it. You know what I mean? Universe, like other pieces of franchise spinoffs. Just 3 Miles Morales movies. And then within this Beyond the Spider-Verse after that universe, right? And then just have its own trilogy. No MCU. That's just what I would want to see. It won't happen. But that's what I would want, and that's what will make it the best version live action wise.
That's why, no, I agree with you. That's what I want to happen. It definitely won't. He's going to be in the MCU. That's exactly what's going to happen. There's no way Kevin Feige will literally give it all for Miles Morales. Like, we are missing young, exciting, and also name brand heroes in the MCU right now, and we're falling back a lot on nostalgia, especially with Secret Wars coming. Like Miles Morales is like the meal ticket for the MCU, just like he thought Tom Holland was going to be. He still is kind of. But I think I've had the young bull, I've had the old bull. Now I want the young calf. was bring in Miles Morales, and I think that's going to rejuvenate the MCU and bring the excitement that like the box office hasn't been showing recently.